They can still win this. They need, if they have exactly land Bowmaster in hand, they win this. If they did that, that's tight. That would probably still go in the video if they win this game. That's the land. They have the Bowmaster. Hello everyone, it's your favorite Lovecraftian enjoyer of Eldritch Horrors. I'm the Control Guy and I'm back with another video for you guys. I had a little poll on the channel right after the last video went up, and I asked what you guys wanted to see. First, you're going to see both decks. If you voted for the other, don't worry. But there were two decks in that poll. There was a blue-white land hate deck and a Eldrazi control deck. And honestly, I thought you guys would like to see the land hate deck because it had Stoneforge Mystic, and that was like a little teaser. It had Stoneforge Mystic. But other than that, y'all said you want to see Eldrazi. So let's do Eldrazi. Let's do some Eldrazi control. This is, I actually didn't even mean to release this list to the public. I meant to gatekeep this list a little bit longer until Tarkir Dragonstorm comes out. Because in Tarkir Dragonstorm, we are getting arguably the best Ugin Planeswalker you've ever seen. Ugin Eye of the Storm is a ridiculous card in my opinion. Absolutely ridiculous. Gonna probably be a format all-star. As long as colorless cards are good, Ugin will be good. And I'll go a little more in depth into why I think that Ugin is going to slot right into this deck during the Decktech. But yeah, this deck is actually just a shell I made, and this is something I do a lot. And by the way, when spoiler cards come out, when teaser cards come out, I start like brewing in advance and see what shells decks could, decks cards could fit into. And I just wanted to make a deck for that Ugin because that Ugin is it looks amazing. Like that Ugin looks absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, just made this deck, but we'll get into that in a minute. I'll see you guys in the deck tech. Peace. Alright, so as I mentioned, we're playing Eldrazi Control today because you guys chose Eldrazi Control. I might be doing those polls after videos more often, by the way, to boost that engagement with the community, you already know. No, I'm joking, but seriously, I might probably do polls more often because I have a lot of decks brewed. I just sometimes need help choosing which ones to play. So I'll probably just put a poll in. What do you guys want to see next? Just a little hint teaser of what the deck might be, and then you guys can choose. Anyway, for today we chose Eldrazi, so let's jump right into this deck tech. It's really spicy. This deck is really spicy. It's doing way better than I thought it would. So right off the bat, this deck started off as, how can I make Ugin Eye of the Storm a good card? Or well, how can I help that card in a controlling shell? Me personally, I'm a control mage. I like controlling the game. Obviously, when you want to play Eldrazi, the optimal thing to do is either be mono green, so you have ramp spells, or maybe mono blue, so you have like free counter spells or something like that in older formats. You won't see that here. We're not an aggro build of Eldrazi. We're a control build we're a control deck that utilizes Eldrazi's. Now, what's the upside of being a control deck that utilizes Eldrazi's? We have we probably have one of the best colorless enablers in existence in Mana Drain. This card is an amazing colorless enabler. Blue, obviously, hard to cast in a colorless land-based deck, but we'll get to that. Count target spell at the beginning of your next main phase, you add gray equal to that spell's mana value. Now, most actual control decks can't do much with this gray mana other than maybe cast the One Ring, or cast like a Lorien Revealed or something like that, right? But Eldrazi can use this gray mana for literally everything in their deck, basically, right? That's the whole point. So other than these few couple control cards, three Brainstorms. Again, we're not maxing out on Brainstorm here because of our mana base, which I'll get to in a second. You can already see it on the side, but I'll get to it. We play all the Swords of Plowshares, we're playing 2 Static Prisons, and as for a sweeper for control, All Is Dust is not on Arena. All Is Dust would be a great sweeper in this deck because it would slot in perfectly. It would do exactly what we need to do. But it's not on Arena yet. So, well, I don't know if it's ever going to be on Arena because really, they could have reprinted it in Modern Horizons 3 and that would have been where they put it on Arena. But I don't know when next we will see Eldrazi because the Eldrazi, for all of you who don't know, who aren't caught up in the Magic story, I'm pretty sure the Eldrazi in canon lore have already been defeated. So they're like, obviously they're like the villain type, they're like an Eldritch Lovecraftian horror type, from outer space. They corrupt beings and kill and just they don't just want to kill people. They want to take over. They don't want to devour the world, right? That's the whole point. But yeah, they've been defeated in Magic lore, so I don't think we're ever going to see them again, really. So I don't know when they would reprint All Is Dust. I don't think they'll ever make... We've had a really big Rise of the Eldrazi that was literally a set name, so it's not like that's going to come back. So a big spell like All Is Dust is probably just never going to come back to Arena. So tangent aside, let's play Eldrazi. The reason why I think that specifically Control, like Sword Suppressor Mana Drain, this playstyle is good with Eldrazi spells, is because of this bonkers card that they somehow printed. I don't know how did this even make it to the live servers? I don't understand how they made this card. Kozilek's command, 2 gray and X. So yeah, you need to have gray mana to cast it, but that's not too hard to do. It is choose 2 because it's a command. You either target player creates X or 1 colorless Eldrazi spawn tokens that sacrifice to create a mana, so ramp. Target player scries X, then draws a card, so card selection, and it replaces itself. Exile target creature with mana value X or less, so removal. And exile up to X target cards from graveyard, so graveyard hate. All these options in one card, that it's just not like, that doesn't make sense for colorless. Colorless before this was casting 7 mana 3/3s, was casting like 8 mana sorceries that did like gain 3 life. Colorless, the whole point of colorless in Magic is that if you have no color, you have no color identity, you can't do what other spells can do more efficiently with their colors. This card is so efficient in what it does for the fact that it's completely colorless. You can cast it. Obviously, you can't play it in any deck because of the gray pips that it has right there. You need colorless mana to actually cast it. But oh my god, is it broken? And again, mana drain adds that gray for you, so you can just cast it off of a mana drain. This card, I could rant about this forever. This card, single-handedly, in my opinion, just made colorless an insane, like, controlling, like, not even controlling, it just works everything. If your opponent has a big creature that you can't get around, you exile it. If you're low on mana, you ramp. If your opponent is reanimating stuff, you exile cards from graveyards. If you need to draw a specific card, you just scry X and draw a card. Like, it's too good. It's just too good. So as I was saying, obviously, you can't exile something as efficiently as Source of Plowshares because this is a color. You can't draw cards as efficiently as Brainstorm because this has a color. But the fact that you can choose between the modes and do both if you want to is not a thing that colorless should be doing. Another colorless card that kind of breaks that whole thing that colorless is supposed to be inefficient is the One Ring. Getting protection and drawing a bunch of cards, obviously you've seen this card a million times, but this card shouldn't be colorless. The One Ring to rule them all, in my opinion, should have cost every single color of mana in Magic, but who cares? They designed it, so it is what it is. Other than that, after ramping a ton, we could then get to do our big broken stuff. We have a singular Karn, by the way, real quick. We have a Karn. This is just, if we're a colorless deck, but we have a lot of mana, we might as well have a Karn. Karn from the sideboard can get Tormod Script for graveyards, can get Pithing Needle for planeswalkers, Vexing Bubble for show and tell, Liquid Metal Coating to start blowing up your opponent's lands. The Aether Spark is a planeswalker that is an artifact, so Karn can get a planeswalker from the sideboard now. Really cool little innovation. Little teaser for the other deck that I'll be playing soon, by the way. The Aether Spark is also an equipment. The Seascape Leveler is a massive creature that destroys permanents when it attacks and when you cast it, so it's just something you can do with a lot of mana when you have a Karn. And Chalice of the Void is just generic hate against anything. Like, if you play a Chalice of the Void on 1, players can't cast 1-drops anymore, Boris basically dies. When you play it on 0, people can't cascade into Crashing Footfalls. Like, it just answers a lot of things flexibly as being a Chalice of the Void, so that's the plan there. That's what we have for Karn. We also have this bad boy, Sowing Mycospawn. If you're a control player and you've ever seen this card, you cry. This card is actually broken as hell. Basically, if you cast it for 4, you ramp. You get any land from your deck and put it onto the battlefield untapped. That's already kind of broken on a 3/3 creature. But if you kick it for 6, yeah, you exile a land your opponent controls. So, doesn't matter if it's a basic, doesn't matter. You just start blowing up your opponent's lands. You just can't come back from this. Thankfully, we don't have Wasteland on Arena. On Arena, in Legacy, Wasteland exists. So basically, they would kick this, exile one of your lands, and then search for Wasteland to destroy another one of your lands. Thankfully, that's not on Arena. Still a ridiculous card, in my opinion. We'll skip the big stuff and talk about the lands now that we've talked about Mycospawn. There's a lot to talk about in this deck because it's Eldrazi control. There's a lot of different cards from your average control deck. So in the land base, to enable all these colorless pip cards, like we have cards that specifically require colorless mana. We're playing these pain lands that can either add a colorless or can add a mana of color by hurting you, right? So Adarkar Wastes and Yavimaya Coast. The cool thing is that when you cast a One Ring, you just use the colorless mana, so you don't always have to take damage. When you have One Ring protection, these deal damage to you, so they actually don't deal damage to you when you have One Ring protection. And then they also just add mana when you need it. In a pinch, you can just take 1 damage and source the Plowshares something, or take 1 damage and mana drain something. That's just something you can do. Another land that is really good that we're running is Ugin's Labyrinth. Now, I think the best number for Ugin's Labyrinth in this deck specifically is 3. I only own 2 because I don't have enough wild cards, unfortunately. Again, this deck wasn't finished, but you guys wanted to see it, so we're putting it out there. Ugin's Labyrinth. Basically, when this land enters the battlefield, you may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or greater from your hand, and put it under Ugin's Labyrinth, basically. And when you do that, it becomes a soul land, where it just adds 2 gray mana instead of 1 gray mana. You can also later on, you can tap this land to return the card that you exiled back to your hand, so the card is never actually lost. So that's not bad. What you can also do is, the way this deck now operates is that we need some really expensive cards to exile to this, right? So we have Drown of Truths, which is on one half a blue-green tap land. On the other half, it's a 7 mana creature. But the cool thing about this is that this creature is devoid, so in your library, on the stack, wherever, it counts as colors, even though it has colors in its mana value. So you can exile this, because this requires a colorless card to exile, right? So you can exile this to your Ugin's Labyrinth, which is really nice, because it lets you ramp out things on turn 1 or turn 2 that you shouldn't be able to. Now, you could play Chalice of the Void main deck. I know that's a thing you can do. If you had 4 Ugin's Labyrinths, I would recommend playing Chalice of the Void main deck, so that you can ramp this out on turn 1, which locks out many decks in the format. If you want to do that, I'd recommend cutting down on these 1-drops though, and I wouldn't play Wrath of the Skies as your sweeper of choice. We're playing Wrath of the Skies here because first of all this stuff doesn't exist, but Wrath of the Skies is another one of those spells where if you have double mana, fueling into this makes a lot of sense, and your creatures will be so big that you're likely not gonna hit them with Wrath of the Skies. If you wrath your own Sowing Mycospawn, that's not a big deal. But even 4 mana is a lot of mana. There's a high mana value for Timeless, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the thing. And then obviously the One Ring has protection, is indestructible, so it doesn't get destroyed. And the spawns you make, you can sacrifice them to pay for your Wrath of the Skies, so you're not losing anything. We have 1 Devour of Destiny. This card is decent, in my opinion. It's not like amazing. It's okay. We don't need the opening hand fixing as much as like a mono green Eldrazi deck would need, because we don't need Ugin's Labyrinth to win the game. It's cool to have it accelerates us for sure, but we don't need it. But yeah, it also just goes under Ugin's Labyrinth because it's a 7-drop, and when you cast it, which is very possible, all these spells, they look expensive, but they're very castable in this deck. When you cast it, you exile a non-land permanent that has 1 or more colors. It doesn't even say non-land, but all lands are colorless. So you exile a permanent that has 1 or more colors, which is pretty good. So removal on a triggered ability when you cast it comes with a 6/6. Other than that, we have some tech lands in this deck. The tech lands being 1 Blast Zone. Either you can charge it up to remove like planeswalkers, like I don't know, Oko or Teferi or Narset, or you can just leave it on 1 counter and destroy all Dragons, Rage Chandlers, Ragavans, Ocelot Prides, Guide of Souls, and all of that. So that's pretty good. We have a singular Cavern of Souls. Again, it's a land that adds colorless mana for our Kozilek's command, but it can also add colored mana to make our Nulldrifters, Devour of Destinies, Drown of Truths, and Ulamog. And our Sowing Mycospawn body, it can make them uncounterable. So in the control mirror, this is a nice land to just have a one-off. Again, all these one-off lands can be fetched with Sowing Mycospawn. It just tutors whatever you want. We have a Radiant Fountain. This is just in here for life gain. I don't think this is actually necessary. You don't have to run this. If you want to run more Ugin's Labyrinth, this is one of the lands I'd recommend replacing. But because our lands do on average deal damage to us, having a land that just recoups some of that life is pretty good. And sometimes it actually is very relevant when you just need to gain that extra 2 life to like not die to a 1-ring when you have a Sowing Mycospawn in your hand. So that's pretty good. And then yeah, other than that, 1 untapped green source, 2 untapped blue-white sources, and 2 basics. When we don't need basic forest in this deck. We're pretty stable against, like, we're not very stable against like Blood Moon and Harbinger of Thieves, obviously, because we are a land focused deck. However, if you have spawn tokens, you have your colorless mana, and if you have colorless mana, Devourer of Destiny can exile Blood Moon or whatever. If you end up just having 8 lands in play, Ugin can exile it. And now here's the Ugin. Ugin, this is going to be replaced with the new Ugin. Once the new Ugin drops, this Ugin is going to be replaced with that one. Crazy to me that this Ugin is now a bad Ugin, when Ugin the Spirit Dragon is notoriously one of the best Planeswalker. Like, I don't think he's the best Planeswalker, not one of the best Planeswalkers, but one of the best colorless cards in general was Ugin the Spirit Dragon up till now. Crazy that they power crept Ugin Spirit Dragon, but I'll just, while you're watching this, I'll have it on screen side by side. The new Ugin is cheaper, effectively does the same thing that Ugin does, because here was what Ugin does. Ugin, when you cast it, if they have a board of permanents, you wipe the board with Ugin, which obviously the new Ugin can't really do that, but the new Ugin gains you life. When you cast the new Ugin, on cast it exiles a permanent, and whenever you cast a colorless spell, you exile a permanent as well. You can cast a lot of colorless spells in a turn with this deck, so the new Ugin basically can wipe the board as well. And then this Ugin's ultimate obviously wins the game, because you draw 7 cards, gain 7 life, put 7 permanents into play. That will oftentimes put gigantic creatures into play that your opponent just can't beat, which is pretty good. But the other Ugin, the new Ugin, will just win the game. Like, it just searches your library for colorless cards and you cast them for free. That's gonna win the game, because when you do that, you get the cast trigger of Ulamog, you get the cast trigger of Nulldrifter, you get the cast trigger of Devourer of Destiny, you get the cast trigger of Sowing Mycospawn. Like, you get the protection from the 1-ring because it casts it as well. It's just like, the new Ugin is gonna be ridiculous as well. Like, absolutely, really. The ultimates are comparable, but the new Ugin will definitely just win the game with his ultimate, whereas this Ugin sometimes can miss. Like, you can technically draw 7 lands and just put 7 lands into play, right? So yeah. That being said, this Ugin is still very powerful, which is in my opinion why this deck is playable right now, even though the new Ugin isn't even out yet. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck. Anything else I need to talk about? Again, we've cut down on Brainstorms because we only do play 4 Flooded Strands. We have 1 Meticulous Archive for selection, and then we just want some painless, as in like constantly painless sources. You could fill up on these on like Adarkar Wastes and Yavimaya Coast if you really wanted to. There's also deserts that you can play that add grey mana, but I don't want to lean in that far because I don't want to take damage every time I counter a spell. So sometimes you just want to have painless lands as well. And yeah, other than that, Ulamog the Defiler is our singular win obviously we have a lot of win conditions. Nulldrifter is a win condition, Karn is a win condition, Devourer itself is a win condition. We have 4 drowners that we can just cast with just as 7/6s, which isn't bad. But Ulamog is like our big finisher that we can cast, and it has 10 mana, it has a 10 mana cost. That is so castable in this deck. You don't understand how castable 10 mana is. Kozilek's Command is an insane glue card, and if this card was just playable on a regular control deck, it would be in every control deck I play. The downside of this card is that you need the colorless, which means you have to play these awkward like colorless lands. But in this deck specifically, it works out really well. And I'm sorry, I know I've been rambling a lot for this deck tag, but again, this isn't your normal control deck. There's a lot to like unpack here. Also, those of you who pay very close attention, you have seen no 3-drops in this entire deck. That's because if you go turn 1 land, turn 2 Ugin's Labyrinth, and then you hold up Kozilek's Command, you're basically ramping straight into a mana drain, or turn 2 mana drain into not ramping into mana drain, ramping into a 1-ring / Karn / Sowing Mycospawn. So you're very often just gonna ramp into a 4-drop anyway. And then most of the time with this deck, you're just holding open either Kozilek's Command or mana drain until late game. And the thing with this deck is that like control decks obviously are meant to win in the late game, but oh my god, does this deck win in the late game. When you're like both in a steroid contest, both top decking, and you have like 12 mana available to you, and you top deck like a Kozilek's Command, and you Kozilek's Command for 10, make 10 spawns, scry 10, draw a card. it's actually just not fair. This deck just goes over the top of everything. Like, I think the only deck I've ever played that goes harder than this deck in like the late game is the 4-color Omnath deck. That's the only deck I've ever played that goes harder. Anyway, this deck is absolutely insane. I'd recommend make a third Ugin's Labyrinth. You can go all the way up to 4 if you really want to. I don't think 4 is necessary because again, we are at the core we're a blue-white control deck. We don't need like so many colorless lands. But yeah, you can also just play around with the tech lands you want. You can play Ghost Quarter if you really want to instead of Radiant Fountain. Me personally, I ended up with Blast Zone, Cavern of Souls, and Radiant Fountain. There's a lot of tech lands that you could play. Meticulous Archive technically also is a tech land. Yeah, there's a lot of cool tech lands on Arena. Just do whatever you want. When you have a Sowing Mycospawn package, you can just do whatever you want, really. So yeah, not bad stuff. And yeah, let's just get right into the game, shall we? Alright. We go first. We don't have white mana, but we have Devour of Destiny, so we can actually select the top of our library to find white mana. So I think I actually want to keep this. We do have 2 lands. Drowner is a land, even though it doesn't look like one. It actually is. So we're going to reveal Devour of Destiny here. Submit 1. And boom, we get to select. We get to find a... I think I'm going to take the... Do I take Adarkar Wastes or do I take Flooded Strand? That's actually a good call here. I think I'm going to take Flooded Strand. We don't need colorless just yet. But yeah. Oh yeah, but that goes on top. But that's fine. We get to play Yavimaya Coast. I probably should have played this one. I should have played this because it's a tap land. But that's alright. Alright, let's hold a fetch land. This is actually fine because now I get to hold mana drain for 2 turns in a row. They're on some kind of Sultai brew so far. No companion is very interesting to me. They could be like playing... They could be playing like Show and Tell, technically. Show and Tell usually... Oh, Ulamog. Do I want to draw this? I definitely don't want it in the graveyard, so I might as well just put it in my hand, I suppose. This. And then next turn we might be able to resolve a 1-ring. Orcish Bowmaster. I could counter this. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. But I think I will counter it because this is guaranteed mana. They might not do anything on their turn. If they resolve like an Oko, that's decent for them, but not too bad for us. So they're on some kind of Sultai build. I don't know what they're playing, whether like more controlling strategy. Snow-covered island is very interesting. Uro. Okay, so they just tap out here. Kozilek command notoriously can just get Uro out of the graveyard if we ever wanted to. Oh, shock. So they have another play? Interesting. What's your next play? Nothing. Okay. We drew a land, which is very good for us. I'm just going to play a 1-ring. Resolves. Draw a card. Another mana drain, but we can't use it. But that's fine. We did draw a land, so we're fine. We have a swords up here, depending on what they want to do. I don't think they can Uro yet until they have like a dedicated mill. Unless they have like a dedicated mill card. Shouldn't be able to Uro just yet. I have protect from everything, so I can't get hand-hated here. Let's see what they do. Okay. Boreal Grazer. Do I need to kill this in response so that they can't natural order? Or am I okay with them like Atraxing here? Do I need to kill this in response? I think I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. I'm gonna kill this in response to its trigger so they can't natural order. I don't understand why a normal Sultai deck would play a Boreal Grazer in the first place, especially with no land in play. Especially with no land, that's a little confusing. Why why they would even do that? Winding Way and Mulch, they want to mill and find lands. They're probably on some kind of Sultai Titan Field deck, but with Uro. That's very cool. Very interesting. This is going to make Uro uncounterable, which is pretty good for them. That's pretty good for them. Alright, let's draw some cards. Sowing Mycospawn. Okay. Didn't draw a land here. I think I want to Nulldrift into a land. Let's Nulldrifter into a land. Nice. It's a blue land too, so that lets us mana drain. And then we're at 7 cards, so we don't have to discard. This is low-key perfect. So now we get to mana drain something. Giant, that's going to bring back an... Oh, Primeval Titan, that's not bad. Now, here's the thing we can do. What I'm going to do here, this sounds really dumb, but I'm actually going to mana drain the Primeval Titan, even though it's uncounterable. I'm going to mana drain it anyway. They get a bunch of stuff here, but now we're going to still get the mana drain mana, even though we mana drained it. They say oops as if I made a mistake, which I'm happy with them thinking I made a mistake. That was not a mistake, that was fully intentional. That was fully intentional. I completely intended to do that. Okay, they get one Cavern of Souls and Bojuka Bog. I don't really care about Bojuka Bog at all. They only got one field. Oh, that's just an Ugin. Okay. So what I can do here is, I'm pretty sure I can kick Sowing Mycospawn. Can I kick Mycospawn and cast Ugin? So if I kick Sowing Mycospawn, that's 6 mana. I can then... I'm 1 mana short. No, I'm not. Because I can play a land, and then I can kick Sowing Mycospawn. Kick Mycospawn, exile their Field of the Dead. Get a Ugin's Labyrinth. Put the Devourer of Destiny under Ugin's Labyrinth. Boom. Have a Sowing Mycospawn, and then I can cast Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Then I can -6 to exile the Titan. And then I can draw 3 cards. Remember, as I said, this deck goes over the top? Yeah, this is what I meant. This deck goes over the freaking top. It's actually crazy what this deck's capable of. Obviously, they have more Field of the Deads, which is great for them. And they're going to be able to Uro here as well. But, yeah, this is where things get a little out of hand. And here's the thing. Field of the Dead does not race Ulamog. I'll tell you that much. Field of the Dead does not race Ulamog. So yeah, let's see how they win that, because there's already a 7-drop in exile regardless. Yeah, they make a lot of like stuff, which is nice and all, but they're gonna quickly notice that that might not be enough. Crazy that they don't have three other islands. That's very interesting. All right. So if I play a land, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I am short. I would need a, I can't Ulamog this turn. I would have needed a Ugin's Labyrinth, which is why you should play more in the deck so you can find them more like reliably. But we're gonna do something here. We're gonna, do we kill Ugin? Is it worth killing Ugin, or do we just minus? I think we just minus. We -0. Then we are gonna QQ. I don't have any like interaction up or anything, so I'm just gonna... How much mana is that? Is that Kozilek's for 7? Kozilek's command, gonna exile... I could exile their graveyard and exile all their Uros, but they can't get Uro back anyway. So I'm just gonna make spawns and exile the Uro in existence. Oh, that's a little too much. Kozilek's for 7, make spawns, exile Uro. Yeah, not bad, is it? I could now cast hard cast a Nulldrifter and then have Ulamog next turn, or I could hold up Kozilek's command. I think I'll hold up Kozilek's command, because Nulldrifter would make me draw more cards, and I don't want to go to discard. I already have to discard 2 cards. I'll discard a Static Prison and a One Ring, because I'm not drawing many more cards this game anyway. But we're definitely putting to the test here who the better ramp deck is. Natural Order. What's that gonna get? Like an Atraxa? Sure. Oh, a Titan. Okay. I don't have a... I'm 1 mana short of exiling this Titan instantly, which is a little unfortunate, but that's fine. They shouldn't have anything to... Like... Yeah, they can only make more zombies, which that's okay. I can beat zombies. I'm minusing Ugin every turn. Actually, in response to this, I'm gonna Kozilek's for 5. Exile cards from graveyards and make spawns for 5. Target player, exile Uro, Bowmaster, Kami, this, and this. Just empty their graveyard. This is the power of Kozilek's command, by the way. The reason why I did that is because they have a fetch land, so they would have been able to just, they would have been able to, bring Uro back. I don't want that to happen, so... Yeah. Winding Way, they can reveal some lands. Oh no, they chose creatures, so they revealed creatures. That's fine. Pass turn. Okay. My turn. Take some damage from the ring. I could draw more cards with the ring, and I think I will. I think I will draw more cards with the ring. I'll draw one more time. Yeah, because I really wanted that, I wanted this Source to Plowshares for the Primeval Titan. Then I'm gonna... -0. I'm gonna cast a new ring, because that's my top priority right now. I don't want to die to my ring. Cast a new ring. And they're dead. And they're dead. Do I have enough mana to cast Ulamog? I do. So, as I mentioned during the deck, that this deck goes over the top. This is what I was talking about. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this island here, and just cast Ulamog the Defiler. There is a 6-drop in the graveyard here, in exile here. There's a 7-drop in exile here. I'm also gonna exile half the library when I cast it. That's just his cast trigger. And then I'm just gonna have a at minimum 7+1 counter. So at minimum 14/14 with ward, sacrifice 2 permanents against the deck with no spot removal, and Annihilator 7. And I have Ugin cleaning up all the zombies every turn. And I have Annihilator 7 on a 14/14. They're not gonna live very long. So yeah, that's just what I meant when I said this deck can go over the top. I'm almost certain that a normal traditional control deck with like maybe Teferis, Tamios, the One Ring, I don't think we would have beaten 3 Field of the Deads. I just don't think that's possible. Obviously this matchup specifically is the one where maybe this Ugin is better than the new Ugin that's coming, because this Ugin wipes the board regardless of how many zombies they make, whereas the other Ugin I would have to keep casting colorless spells. But even in that case, with the other Ugin, I think that's still like super like quick to win the game, because again, I'm gaining through and drawing cards, and I have so many colorless spell cards that are just gonna completely wreck them, right? So yeah, yeah, they're just dead. They're just dead. They're playing Titan Field. They have a cool build of it, honestly. I actually really like their build, and again, I think I was correct to exile that first Arboreal Grazer, so they can't instantly natural order. I think they should have a natural order for an Atraxa. That's probably their best way to win here, to not die instantly, but yeah, that's just unfortunate. But yeah, Field of the Dead is not enough to beat this deck. We're the better lands deck, I would almost say we are the better lands deck. Actually, could we run Field of the Dead? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and would Field it would have been 7. You could play a Field of the Dead in your land slot if you really want to. I don't think that's recommended. I think if you want to play Field, you should be comboing, like have multiple at once. But yeah, they're very dead. And again, Kozilek's command is just such a broken card against. It's just so versatile, right? In this matchup, I exiled Uro, exiled the creature, and exiled it from the graveyard, while also making it ramping really hard. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Let's just move on to the next game. Okay, we go first. We have our double colorless but colored mana producers. We have a Kozilek's command. We have Brainstorm. This hand is decent. I'll keep it. We'll start off on Adarkar Wastes. This deck is actually more likely to end step Brainstorm just to fix its mana and stuff. Because again, we don't have many fetch lands. We only have 4 in the deck. So Brainstorm really is just a card selection tool and not like a proper like draw three cards thing like other control decks. But yeah, I don't think we need to end step Brainstorm here though. We'll just play it out, see what happens. We don't have a 7+ card. Oh, Tiny Bones. Interesting. Okay. What does this thing do? Whenever it deals common damage, you may cast target non-permanent card from that player's graveyard. Mana of any type can be cast, spent to cast it. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't think you're ever gonna have the mana to cast my permanents, but that's fine. Alright, I'm gonna remove Tiny Bones for now. Oh, we drew a fetch land, so we can actually Brainstorm if we want to. I think we do want to, actually. Yeah, we do want to. I'm gonna take 1 damage here to Brainstorm. I think that's just worth it to do with a fetch land. I think Karn can wait for later. and I think I don't. I'm scared putting a land back. I don't want to put a land back, but we do kind of want. I think Wrath of the Skies can wait for later as well. I think Karn and Wrath can wait for later. We're just gonna fetch Shock. We hurt ourselves a lot with this mana base, unfortunately. That's just a side effect of the way we do. But yeah, now we're gonna take away that Tiny Bones, see what we want to do in the future. We can play Yavimaya Coast and have Kozilek's Command for 1 available. See what happens here. Dark Ritual into the One Ring. Shield Rid, okay, that's fine. We're gonna take a little bit of damage, but that's not too much of an issue. I'm gonna take action here for 1 turn. And I think I'll cast this just in case I need to Kozilek's Command. Again, Kozilek's Command for 1 is a graveyard hate spell that counters Reanimate. Let's see what they do here. I hope they One Ring. I want them to try and go for something big here. They probably will attack me first, obviously. But then, if they do, I get to Kozilek's Command the Shield into the Shadow Realm. Cast something, please. Ooh, Phyrexian Arena, I'll take that. So, I'll take 1 more damage to counter this. That's going to be 3 mana for me on my turn. That means I can draw a card, go down to 7. That's fine, though. Get my mana. I will pay another mana for... I will pay another energy for this Tiny Bones. I don't want to give up Tiny Bones back just yet. I can then play a land, Kozilek's Command for 4. For 4? I might as well do it for 5, I guess. Kozilek's Command, exile target creature, make spawn tokens. Actually, I'll do it for 4. I won't do it for 5, I'll do it for 4. Because that way I get to hold open a colored mana. Yeah. Or do I want to hold up in a colored mana? No, cancel. I'm going to do it for 5. Exile target creature, make spawns. Do it for 5. Target player makes spawns, target creature that we want to exile. We exile Shielder to make 5 spawns. And then we can use those spawns to cast a One Ring. And that's why Kozilek's Command is a little bit broken, because I'm not supposed to be able to double spell that turn, but I'm just really efficiently using my mana drain now, thanks to Kozilek's Command. Alright, let's see what they do this turn. They can't Thoughtseize me here because I have One Ring protection, so that's cool. Play a Vicious Bauble. They can crack that targeting themselves if they want to. There's notably no creature in their graveyard to reanimate, and no creature in my graveyard to reanimate, so not like they could really reanimate anything. My only fear is that we're a little bit low on life total here. They cast another Tiny Bones, that's great. Don't know why they would even ever do that, because it's legendary, and they can see that this one's coming back, so they're just going to Legend Rule themselves here. They just did that, I guess. Sure. We found another Static Prison as well, that's really nice. So that's going to Legend Rule instantly. I don't know why they cast that, to be fair. That's probably just a misplay. But let's see what we can do here. We do need to find something quickly. And if they have a Bowmaster, we're in a little bit of trouble. But yeah. We have to make that choice on the Tiny Bones. I'm going to draw cards first. If they have a Bowmaster, so be it. They seem to not have one. I'm going to Brainstorm here as well, because I want to see if I can find something. That is a Sowing Mycospawn. That's pretty good. Let's see. I'm still taking a lot of One Ring damage, so I've got to be a little careful with that. I'll put this back, and I guess this back. Like that. Then I can Sowing Mycospawn without kicker. Took another damage. That's a little bit scary, but that's fine. I'm gonna get an Ugin's Labyrinth so that we can ramp. Just like that. And I get to play Yavimaya Coast as well. Okay. So we now are like on like what? 7 mana? Yeah. That's how quick it goes. And Tiny Bones has Death Touch, but I'm still gonna block with it. They have their own One Ring. We have a Static Prison for it, so we don't really care too much about that. Tiny Bones' Death Touch will block it if they attack with it. Even though they can't really do anything, we really need to preserve our life total. We don't even need to really Static Prison, because our Karn is going to Null Rot their One Ring. We can just turn off their One Ring like that. So that's pretty good for us. They attack. I'm just going to block, because I can. Might as well. They both die. Mycospawn's body is really not that important to us. We go down to 3, that's another 1 ring, that's amazing. That's exactly what we wanted to see here. We play on Adarkar Wastes, we play a 1 ring. Yep. We play a Karn, so they can't 1 ring. And then we get a Tormod script, so they can't reanimate. They take damage from their ring, but they can't activate it thanks to Karn. Great stuff. And now, how far ahead are we on mana? We're at 8 mana now. Sheoldred's Edict. I have to sacrifice a Planeswalker. That's fine. That's great that that's out of their hand, because now we get to Ugin. They draw some cards. That's also fine. Now I can Static Prison the 1 ring as well, so fine by me. No play. I'm not going to draw off my ring. I'm too low. I don't even think I want a Ugin yet. I think I'm going to Nulldrifter first. I'm going to Nulldrifter first. Although... Oh, that's a backup Ugin. Ah, no, I'm going to threaten an Ugin ultimate. Although, if they have a Bowmaster here, that's really bad for me. If they have a Bowmaster, that's really bad for me. Because that's just lethal. So maybe that was a misplay. Please just have another Sheoldred's Edict. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Take 3. Take 2 from their ring. They draw more cards. That's fine. I'm gonna start. Do I want to play Nulldrifter? Nulldrifter could kill me if they have a Bowmaster. They back up ring so they don't die from their ring. That's fine. Yep, they keep the new one. That's all okay. I'm thinking here how I could possibly lose this, and I think the way I possibly lose. And any number of target player each discard a card whenever legendary creature. Okay, sure. So I discard a card. I think I will discard. I think I'll discard Nulldrifter. Because now my goal is to Static Prison their 1 ring. Draw a card, that's fine. I'm gonna Static Prison their 1 ring. That's an Ugin's Labyrinth. That's just Ulamog. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna Static Prison their 1 ring. I'm gonna exile Ugin. I'm gonna cast Ulamog, which is gonna exile. Didn't exile anything, but there's an 8-drop in exile, so this is a 15/15 with Annihilator 8. So now they have to find their 3rd Sheoldred's Edict, or well, I guess they could find anything that targets this, but they have to sacrifice 2 permanents. See if they can beat this. It has Annihilator 8, so when it attacks, they have to sacrifice 8 permanents, and it has Ward sacrifice 2 permanents. So if they want to sacrifice 2 permanents for the ward cost, I'm happy. Yeah, let's see what they do. Mistral's Bauble. And I still have the anti-graveyard hate. I have the graveyard hate card in my hand, so. Okay, they bauble me. If this thing lives, my next card is irrelevant anyway, so. And again, this is what I also meant, like, in top deck wars, we are just better. Like, we're just gonna top deck something crazy. Oh, that's gonna make me discard a card. Okay, sure. I'm not gonna draw a card in response, even though this is Static Prison is great. If I draw a card in response, I might die to a Bowmaster. That's like, I want to prevent death by any means possible. So, sure. Discard my Static Prison. That means they get to keep the 1 ring here. What is that? Whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. A creature. I don't think that kills a creature. Mill a card and lose 1 life. Okay. Yeah. It can almost mill me out. Why did they mill that though? That's not even good. That's good for me, right? Good sir. That's looking awfully a lot like I'm gonna get a combat step. You're at 15. So you can't sacrifice your creature. That's a land that does nothing. But can't sacrifice your creature. Oh, that's a Annihilator 8 trigger. Can you beat an Annihilator 8 trigger? You have 7 lands in play. So Tiny Bones is gonna go. Okay, they have a Bowmaster. Sure, they go ping me to 1. They still have to sacrifice 8 permanents. Let's see how they sacrifice here, because based on how they sacrifice, that's going to make the difference. They need to leave at least 1 creature in play, though, so really they have to sacrifice 9 permanents. But then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana available. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana available. Or 7, 8, so I can still get to Ugin. Oh yeah, so I can still Ugin this turn, right? I have to block. Okay. So, let me just make sure I counted this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I tap this land and return the Ugin to my hand, I can cast Ugin. And Ugin -4. They can still win this. They need, if they have exactly land Bowmaster in hand, they win this. If they did that, that's tight. That would probably still go in the video if they win this game. That's the land. They have the Bowmaster. That's not a Bowmaster. That doesn't kill anything and it doesn't lose me any life. If that was a turn... No, because I exiled all this stuff. It doesn't matter. And now I have a mana drain, so they're just dead. GG.
I'm fucking dead, dude. I'm fucking dead, dude. I'm fucking... Yeah.
Again, like, Ulamog, very castable in this deck. And the reason why I played this Ulamog and not the other one is, first of all, wild cards, but second of all, the Annihilator 8 is more relevant than exiling 2 permanents when you cast it, in my opinion. The exiling 2 permanents is good, but the Annihilator 8, man. The Annihilator 8, man. It's crazy. And the trigger ability on cast didn't trigger because they had protection as I cast it. But again, because there was an Ugin under my Ugin's Labyrinth, Ulamog just cares about any card in exile, mine or yours. So, yeah, Annihilator 8. Yeah, about that. Hey, I mean, to be fair, they did run pretty bad in my opinion. They probably played 4 Bowmasters, and they only found 1 in the top 27 cards of the library. That's pretty bad odds, because in the top half of your deck you expect to see 2, so that's pretty bad for them. If I had land Bowmaster there, I was dead. There was nothing I could have really done. No, actually, I would have been fine, because I would have drawn a... No, I wouldn't. I would have been dead, because if I drew a card to mana drain it, I would have died to my ring. So, yeah, land Bowmaster would have beat me there, but... Again, this deck is just, like, you can't do nothing against this. You can't just be playing mono black do nothing against this deck. Like, Ulamog and Ugin will rock your world, and they are very castable, especially if you have soul lands in your deck. So, yeah, next game. Jose the Brilliant. Alright, we go first. We have a Ugin's Labyrinth opener, which is actually really good. We're gonna keep this one. Don't have any removal, but we go first, so that's fine. Let's play a tapped land first. I think I'm gonna exile this Drowner to the Ugin's Lab, so let's just play a selection land first. Let's play our Meticulous Archive. Get the turn. Ooh, we're playing against some land-based strategy again. Very interesting. Oh, well, no. Sunken Citadel. Yeah, we're playing against Mono Green. Well, Titan Field again. We always... How are we playing against Titan Field so often? I don't understand. Okay. The 1 ring... Do I need another ring? No, right? Not now. Okay, let's play our thingy here. Then we can make up for the card advantage lost by drawing 2 cards with Nulldrifter. They don't have a forest, so they can't put like Castle Garenbrig into play and instantly cast like something. They need to like play a forest first for that. Sylvan Scrying, that's gonna get any land they want. Probably a Cavern of Souls, but seeing Eldrazi, people don't usually have mana drain on their radar, so maybe not a Cavern of Souls. Let's see what they do here. Yep. Boseiju. So they want to Boseiju my Ugin's Labyrinth? Okay, interesting. Counter of Bamboo Grows. There's the Castle Garenbrig. So they probably have they probably have a Titan in hand. Hopefully not, but they probably do. I don't have an untapped blue source. That's the problem that this deck often runs into. I guess I get to Brainstorm first. No, I'm gonna pay a One Ring, right? Play this on Eldrazi, and ramp for playing the One Ring. Let's at least have more cards in them. Blast Zone is pretty good. So they have the Hand Warp elements. Do they have the Titan? Oh, no Titan. That's good for me. That lets me draw a blue card. As in like a blue land. Actually, I get a blue land anyway. I'm gonna add 2 mana. Right? Yeah, I'll add 2 mana. That happens. Take action. I'll get this land because life total doesn't matter in this matchup. Then I'll take my One Ring damage. Then I'll draw cards off the One Ring. So I can maybe use this colorless mana if I find like a Kozilek's command. I did not find a Kozilek's command. So I guess we still get our draw step. Oh, and there it is. There's the Kozilek's command. So we get to undo. Oh no, it went into our main phase. Why did it do that? Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that's a shame. If I had a stop, it would have let me use the mana for Kozilek's command before I go into my main phase, but it just auto skipped into my main phase. It's a shame. It happens sometimes, unfortunately. That's just how Arena works, unfortunately. I wish that didn't happen, but it does, so nothing you can do. I'm just gonna pass the turn here. Now I have mana drain available for a Titan if they have one. If they don't find like a Cavern of Souls. I'm gonna just end the turn here. I played Blast Zone for the colorless source so that we can cast Kozilek's. Real shame, honestly. I wish it didn't do that. I should have put a stop. I thought that if you have mana in your pool, it will automatically ask you to go to your main phase, but it didn't, unfortunately, so that's a shame. It happens, though. Discard a card. We're going to discard a Brainstorm, because that card doesn't really do much for us. We have a One Ring already. And now let's hope they like go for like a Titan or something. I'm just gonna take 1 and then I'm gonna Kozilek's for 2 if they don't do anything. Use these 2 modes, pay it for 2. Scry 2, draw a card, and make 2 bodies. That ramp me. The first Kozilek's is like always like small, but it's so good still. I don't need another mana drain, I don't think. But it's actually not a bad thing to draw. I'll just draw it. Why not? I'll destroy it. Screw it. I'll draw another mana drain. Ouch. I'll take 2 from my ring. I will play a Yavimaya Coast and keep ramping. I'll just hold up my ring and draw 3 cards in their end step. No attacks. End turn. They do have a Lair of the Hydra that I have to be a little bit scared of. I have to be a little aware here. But that's okay. I want them to Titan with no Cavern of Souls. Once upon a time, that's fine. I really want them to find a Titan but not have a Cavern of Souls. Jetmir's Garden. They're just on the mono land find over there. That's fine. I'm gonna draw cards now. I might draw Source of Plowshares. Nope. I did not. No blocks. I'll take 1. Is that Ugin next turn? That does look like an Ugin next turn. There's my source to Plowshares that I was wanting to see. I'll just swords this now. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but I don't know. How many cards in hand? 9. I'm gonna have to discard 2. I'll discard a fetch land and a brainstorm. That's fine. Attacks. I'm basically waiting for them to do something. Actually, I can discard static prison instead of brainstorm, I suppose. No, I think brainstorm is worse than static prison here. Actually, I am gonna die to my ring eventually if I keep doing nothing. I might not tap my ring again. Secret card, that's fine. Let's discard this and brainstorm. I want them to hit a Titan here. I want them to cast a Titan. Another land. They definitely have a non-land. Gemia's Garden Cycle. They're doing a whole lot of nothing over there. Another Kami. Do I counter this? Probably not. Oh, this is the Westvale Abbey, so that's going to make creatures now every turn. Really not drawing too well on their end. I think I'll draw with the one ring, because I want to replace my ring. Or at least like find a Kozilek command or something. It's another Ugin. Running out of cards in library here, to be honest. Drawing another batch of cards. I'm going to have to discard a lot of cards here. There we go. Okay, I can Ugin's Labyrinth, exiling one of these. I think I'm gonna use this. And this. No, this is blue. I don't want to use a blue source. I'll use my Cavern of Souls. Not like that. I meant the gray mana. And then this, obviously, to recast my ring. Go. And I'm just gonna have to discard a whole lot of cards, but that's fine. I'm gonna have to discard like 7 cards, but that's okay. Is there anything I want to just cast? Something I can just cast. I guess I can cast this swords now, so I don't have to cast it later. Okay. Alright, let's discard a fetch land, static prison, another drowner. Let's discard one Wrath of the Skies. And I guess we can discard. We have enough colorless sources now, so Adarkar Wastes can go. It's got a bunch of cards that I don't need. And now maybe they eventually find a good spell. So in scrying, I'm gonna counter this because I don't want them to find a Cavern of Souls. That's like the only real land that they're missing is Cavern of Souls here. If they baited with that and now have the Titan, that's great for them. They did not bait with that. They did not have a. Oh no, they were gonna find a Field of the Dead. So I'm happy I countered that. And now I'm just gonna start working towards Ugin. Do another Adarkar Wastes. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Kill this. Another Adarkar Wastes. Next turn I can cast a Nulldrifter, and now we're just in the late game. I have a mana drain available, so even if they top deck a Titan, that's not good enough. I can make a 1/1, but I can block it. That's fine by me. We can make a massive lay off the Hydra, but I can block that as well. So here it comes. Nope, no massive layer of the Hydra at least. Ugin can take 1 damage. I don't need to keep Ugin when I ultimate him, so no blocks. I don't need to keep Ugin around when after ultimating him. Ultimating Ugin is a win anyway, so don't really care too much about that. That's backup mana drain, that's nice. Let's shoot that thing. Now let's cast... Oh no, undo. I want to keep my painless white blue mana if possible. Hard cast an Nulldrifter. The next turn, Ugin's gonna ult, put a new Ugin into play, and we're chilling. No attacks. Oh, I should have sacked the spawn to cast this so I can have double mana drain available, but that's okay. Alright, that obviously just gonna get blocked by Nulldrifter. And they just kinda didn't draw anything this whole game. Poor them, I guess. Unlucky for them, they just really didn't draw anything this game, but I mean, that's their deck. Their deck is mostly lands, so I'm not really sympathetic towards them. They finally drew a card, but that's not going to be enough. I'm just going to mana drain that, and they concede. GG. Ugin's going to ult here. I'm going to draw 7 cards, put 7 permanents into play, gain 7 life. I'm never losing this game, and that's an easy rank up right there. Now, the thing is, games tend to go long with this deck, but here's the thing, like, in my opinion, like, Kozilek's command has no business being this good. It has no business being able to stall games out like this and like just ramp you so hard. It's so good. It's so ridiculously good. And obviously now I gain a bunch of mana, so I'm gonna ult, and then I can cast another immensely massive Kozilek's command and just set up. I'm gonna get what? 7 mana from this. I'm gonna ultimate Ugin. If I don't find Karn with that Ugin ultimate, I'm gonna Kozilek's command for like 15 and just scry 15 to find Karn and just lock them out of the game entirely. Like Pithing Needle their layout the Hydra or something. Or like stop blowing up their lands. I haven't seen a single Sowing Mycospawn yet, so that we're not even done with them yet. We have a land destruction angle with Sowing Mycospawn as well. It's just a little too good. It's just a little too good in my opinion. Like, I don't understand how playing a deck with Adarkar Wastes and Timeless is just completely, not only viable, in my opinion, this is strong. We're actually doing something strong. So yeah, let's keep going. Alright, this video is already quite long, but here's the little bonus game. If we win it, it goes in. If we lose it, it doesn't. So let's see how this goes. We go first with a decent opening hand, honestly. We start off with Adarkar Wastes, potentially, or maybe we start off with Flooded Strand so that we can search for a another colorless land for Kozileks. Let's keep this and play Flooded Strand, I think. And then we can just accelerate into the One Ring or something. I don't know, we'll see what this hand does. What the hell is that? That is a Jetmir's Garden. Who plays Jetmir's Garden? Are they, with a Watley Planeswalker avatar, are they really playing dinosaurs? That's not impossible. It's not impossible that they're just playing dinosaurs. There's another Adarkar Waste. That's exactly what we want to see. Gonna Brainstorm. No, I'm just gonna play Adarkar Waste and pass. And then I can play another Adarkar Waste, and then I have Kozilek's command available if I want to. Like some kind of slow strategy, it seems. So far, they really are just Naya, which I've not seen Naya in ages, to be honest. And that's another Kozilek's. So we're just going to hold up Kozilek command here. Why is this an instant spell, not a sorcery? I don't understand. Yep. Just straight up Naya. Oh, that's an artifact. Okay, prototype. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. I'm going to Kozilek for 1. Make a spawn. And scry 1, draw 1. Put that to the bottom. Draw something more important. Mana drain is pretty good. And we made a spawn, so that's pretty nice too. I could Karn. I have mana drain available now. I think I'm gonna shock this in, hold up Kozilek and mana drain. No attacks. I don't want to kill my spawn for no reason. Not seen Naya in ages. Have big artifacts. Oh, is this trying? Are they trying to yeah, natural order here? Unfortunately for them, that's gonna just make me win the game, right? Mana drain that, get 8 mana. We'll have 8 mana available on my turn. Yeah, I have options now. I can Karn. Let's see what I can Karn for. I can Karn for... I can Karn and Aether Spark. That sounds really good. That sounds really good. I'm gonna Karn for the Aether Spark. And play the Aether Spark and attach the Aether Spark to my spawn. Sounds pretty good if you ask me. I don't have to play this. I don't have to shop this in. I can draw 2 cards with the Aether Spark next turn. If they want a natural order again, that's fine. I don't have a Tormod's Crypt in my card board. You really should probably run one. I'm playing both Chalice of the Void and Vexing Bauble. Instead of one of those two, you'd probably play a Tormod's Crypt so people can't just cheat creatures into play from the battle from their library. Because this is clearly a natural order deck, so yeah, they just drew a second one, so that's good for them. They say oops, but they can't actually activate their thing because of Karn, and that's the bonus game done. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's really not good for them. They probably thought they can activate here, play a 6-drop. Probably Primeval Titan actually, maybe, who knows, but yeah, can't do that. You just can't activate artifact abilities with Karn in play, and they just lost. Hey, you guys got to see the Ace Spark. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? Puts a counter on a creature, and then gets loyalty for the damage it deals. And then we're allowed to draw 2 cards with it next turn. And eventually you can make 10 mana of any one color, which can feed into like a massive Kozilek command, cast your Ulamog. So not a bad card in this deck. But yeah, GG, I guess. Wow, what a game. And we are back for the post-game chat. This deck is ridiculously strong. I don't know why. I think, I don't know why I didn't come up with this earlier. This deck has been legal for a while now, ever since MH3. There's nothing really new in this deck. The only new card is the Aether Spark from Aether Drift, which you got the Saurius Sea in the last game, but that is really not necessary. One thing I'd recommend, I do really like Chalice of the Void, because it can hose people entirely, so I'm going to keep it in. And I think Vexing Bauble is almost necessary against Show and Tell. These 2 cards kind of do the same thing, but they do it differently. Like, Vexing Bauble says you can't cast spells for free, and Chalice of the Void says you can't cast spells with a certain mana value. But I think you should probably find space for a either a Weathered Runestone or a Tormod's Crypt in this deck, in this sideboard for Karn. That would just help really much against, like, natural order decks. Other than that, and it also helps against Reanimator as well, because things can't enter the battlefield from graveyards or libraries, so that's pretty good. Other than that, Jesus Christ, this deck was actually like 100% win rate in ranked and unranked. Like, I've been playing this deck all day today. Before I've been playing it all day yesterday. Obviously I've not won 100% of my games like yesterday and stuff, but today I've played like 9 games with this deck, just all wins. It's just like you're doing the core of control, which is efficient removal and counter your spells, but then you're abusing the second half of mana drain. Like, a regular controller can't make use of mana drain like this deck can, and like just that late game inevitability of, yeah, I will eventually have 12 mana in play and I will cast Ulamog the Defiler on you. It's ridiculous. And like, again, I love Ulamog the Defiler as a creature. I really wish he was more castable in other decks. This deck is that deck. It just casts Ulamog straight up. Just raw dog, cast it from your hand, boom. Exile half your library, I have an Annihilator 8 in play. Cast Ugin just like that. It just happens. You're just gonna cast Ugin. Like, potentially on turn 6, potentially earlier with the Kozilek command. This deck is not even finished yet. In my opinion, this is still a prototype that isn't finished. The new Ugin is going to slot right in here, because the new Ugin also exiles to Ugin's Labyrinth, which you can then get back later and cast it. The new Ugin was going to trigger off of all of these colorless spells, are going to trigger the new Ugin to exile your opponent's permanents. It's going to be a blast. The new Ugin is going to be a blast. I think this Ugin is also really good. I don't think this Ugin is to be laughed at. This Ugin is really good as well. But I'm probably going to replace it with the new Ugin. You might still want to run 1 copy of this. Maybe replace a Nulldrifter with 1 copy of this. But Nulldrifter is also a good card. Like, you saw Nulldrifter last video. It's good when you scam it in. Well, turns out it's also good when you are able to hardcast it. And just the ability to draw 2 cards for 3 mana instead of hardcasting it is also just really good. So I don't see it. I don't know why they would, like, why this is a thing, why this is allowed. One play you never got to see is you can do something as well, is you can, if you have 5 mana, whether be it with Ugin's Labyrinth or whatever, but you need 2 blue, you can evoke Nulldrifter to draw 2 cards, and then mana drain your own Nulldrifter. that's gonna cost you 5 mana to do, but give you 7 mana with the mana drain on your next main phase. Which, if you then pass through combat, you get another main phase with 7 mana, which you can then use to hardcast the new Ugin, or to hardcast a Nulldrifter or something like that, right? So that's a pretty cool, or hardcast a Devourer of Destiny. That's a really cool sequence you can do. I do think, obviously, the new Ugin does exactly what Devourer of Destiny already does. It exiles a no-land permanent when you cast it. So exiles a permanent when you cast it. So I think Devourer of Destiny might be that one card that you can replace. But the selection of Destiny in your opening hand is pretty nice. But yeah, I do believe that Devourer of Destiny, because we're only playing one, we don't need 4 like the ramp decks. We're a control deck. We draw cards eventually anyway. We have a lot of card selection with brainstorms. We have our Meticulous Archive. We have the One Ring. So eventually you will draw the cards you need anyway, so you don't really need a selection like that. So you probably remove Devourer for an Ugin, remove one of the Ugins for an Ugin, and keep one of the big Ugins in. I think the board wipe on the big Ugin is really good as well. So that's probably going to be the actual numbers when it comes out. You want to play 2 Ugin Eye of the Storm, 1 Ugin Spirit Dragon, take out a Devourer of Destiny, and then I think you should take out either the Cavern of Souls or maybe the Blast Zone. One of the tech lands needs to go for a third Ugin's Labyrinth. I don't think you need 4 Labyrinths in this deck, because again, at base, you are a control deck that is abusing Adarkar Wastes to cast Kozilek's command, and then have an Eldrazi late game. I honestly wish I never asked you guys what what you guys want to see, because this deck, I was going to gatekeep this and just ride this deck to Diamond, because this deck is winning hard right now. It's winning hard. Now, obviously, you struggle against turn 0 combo, and I didn't play against turn 0 combo, but here's the thing. As Magic players in Timeless, we just have to accept that everyone struggles against turn 0 combo. No one is going to be able to beat turn 0 combo anyway. And at the very least, on turn 2 with an Ugin's Labyrinth, you have Kozilek's command for 1 to exile a card from the graveyard if it's combo Reanimator. If it's show and tell, you could have a Static Prison in your opening hand, or you could just play Mana Drain with your Adarkar Wastes and your Hallowed Fountain. And if it's if they show and tell you, and they for some reason can't go off, and you put in an Ulamog of the Defiler, they probably lose. So yeah, there's that. That being said, obviously against something like Sentinelender, not much you can do. But then you're just a normal control deck. You just have Source of Flashes and Mana Drain like every other control deck has anyway. So if you're gonna play control, why not just play a control deck that just completely stomps out in the late game? Like, this deck is the craziest late game control deck I've ever seen. I remember earlier I said the only deck that might go harder is the Omnath deck. I lied. This deck goes harder. This deck actually just goes insano style. The only issue with this deck, and the only thing that Kozilek's command magically can't do, is gain you life. The only life gain in this deck right now is Ugin the Spirit Dragon and Radiant Fountain, which is why Radiant Fountain's in the deck. But if you can't manage to reset your rings, you're in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, I think this deck is absolutely insane. Probably brought to you by Mana Drain. Just Mana Drain is a card that doesn't exist in any other format right now. And I think for good reason. This card is actually broken, and people aren't talking enough about how broken Mana Drain is. People said this is just counterspell with upside. When you actually are planning to use that mana, as you saw in game 1, I don't care that your Titan resolved. I gained 6 mana before casting a 2 mana spell on it. Like, I don't care if it resolves or not. 6 mana is all I need, and I win the game. Like, it's actually ridiculous. So yeah, let me stop yapping so much. This deck is, and like, I'll re-emphasize, this deck is not finished and already winning 100% of the games I play it in. 90% of the games I play it in, it's winning, even though it's not finished. It still needs an Ugin's Labyrinth, and we need to wait till April for Ugin the Spirit Dragon to come out. Not Spirit Dragon, Eye of the Storm. Once this deck is finished, I promise you this deck is insane. Actually insane. And this is a control deck abusing all Eldrazi. We haven't even talked about just an Eldrazi deck playing the One Ring and playing like what's that card called? Thought-Knot Seer, the 4 mana Hand Hater, and the other Eldrazi cards that are legal on Arena and in Timeless. This isn't even just regular Eldrazi. This is a control Eldrazi build, and I'm already sweeping the floor with people. It's crazy, the stuff that we have access to. It's actually crazy. So, like I said, if you want to play this deck for yourself, craft a third Ugin's Labyrinth, wait for the new Ugin to come out, and then look at your flex slots. I think Blast Zone might be good, but you might want to play Ghost Quarter instead if you're worried about lands. You can play Bajuka Bog instead if you're worried about graveyards. It's just you have so much flexibility because there's so many lands that do different things on Arena, like in Magic in general, but already on Arena. And Sowing Mycospawn just gets that on the triggered ability, so it can't be reacted to. It's just insane. It's just insane. I've talked enough about this. Let's open a pack and get this over with. All right, we're here to open a pack. I am illuminated by this red background. I can barely see myself. But yeah, opening a mythic pack here. Again, I'm a degenerate gambler, and I want another Ugin's Labyrinth. So let's see if I can hit it in this Modern Horizons mythic pack. My vault is at 6% because I just opened it recently. So let's see what I can do. Oh my god, we got a mythic. Anyway, we got Meltdown. Breaker of Creation, another card that I considered for the deck. This is because I was looking at cards that potentially could gain me life. Breaker of Creation gains a lot of life. When you cast this, you gain 1 life for each colorless permanent you control. If you have spawns and lands and the One Ring and colorless planeswalkers and creatures, you're gaining a lot of life with 1 Breaker of Creation cast. But I don't know if I want this because on its own it doesn't really do much. And God forbid you mill this to your graveyard and your opponent reanimates it. You will die. Because hexproof from each color is hard to beat. Anyway, that being said, let's see our mythic card. I got a second Ajani, that's not bad. Ajani is a really good card right now. I've not found a deck that is controlling and uses it. I almost put this in my mono white control deck, but I had no way of killing my own cat token, so I didn't do it. But I can definitely see a deck that wants to play this as like a controlling strategy. But yeah, that being said, actually, yeah, I might work on like a Jeskai, you know, like Boros Energy, but like Jeskai-ify it and make it more like of a control-y strategy with less creatures and more like counter spells. That could work. But yeah, we'll see. That being said, good pack, honestly. That was actually a good pack. I'll take it. But that's about it from me. This deck is actually insane. I definitely should have gatekept it. I shouldn't have shown this to you guys because you guys are now going to play this on a ladder. And I'm going to run into you with a regular control deck and I'm going to cry my eyes out because no regular control deck stands a chance against Eldrazi. That's just how it works. That being said, I have released this upon the world and I feel a bit sad about it, but it is what it is. Let's wait for Ugin to come out and make this deck even better than it already is. That being said, already been recording for more than an hour. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'll probably do another poll. Maybe not this video, maybe next video, because I already said that the next video might be, well, further down the line, we're going to have the Harbinger of the Seas control deck, which actually beats this deck. So actually, it works out nicely, because you guys are going to play this deck, and I'm going to be playing Harbinger of the Seas, so I'm going to beat you. But that being said, jokes aside, I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's all I have to say. I'm the Control Guy, and I bid you all farewell. Peace.